It's another beautiful Sunday afternoon. This is Rubbin Minds. Welcome. My name is Ebuka Obiuchendu. Thanks a lot for joining us. We're starting off the conversation today with something that has become quite synonymous with work in the last 2 years. Work from home, freelancing. The approach or attitude to work has completely changed or is changing, especially for a place like Nigeria, which is usually traditional. But we're starting to see a shift in how people approach work. And we're going to be talking about that on the show today. I'm joined now by Sochi Azu and Omodara Dediran. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Great to be here. Thanks, Ebuka.
Let me start with you, Sochi. What do you think is happening in the workspace? Nigeria usually is very slow to adapt to sort of these new evolving ways. But with work, we're starting to see that happen here as well. I mean, work from home was very popular last year, of course, forced by the lockdown and all of the things that came with COVID. But a lot of places seem to have maybe adapted to that a little more. Are you seeing that happen, or are we still stuck, if that's a word to use, in our 9 to 5 ways, you think?
So you were right to say that in the Nigerian space, our employers are pretty much slow to adapt to anything similar to a work from home structure. However, their hands were forced last year with the pandemic, with the lockdown nationwide, worldwide. And, then they saw that, they had no choice but to conform. So I'll say, yes, it works. One of the interesting things about that lockdown and all the dynamics that follow the work from home imperative was that businesses, employers had to, reprioritize. And I think for some, if they're honest with themselves, began to find operational leakages, leakages in their models. Some people had to reevaluate their value chain. But what was most interesting and what is relevant to this conversation was how they could actually make working from home work. Now, a lot of the employers, a lot of businesses in Nigeria have thrived even with that. Some were already early in the game. Some were early in the game and found, took advantage of their head start. Some are actually slower to adapt even now. I'll take, for example, where I work right now, we're 50 to 25% capacity, meaning 50 or 25% of the workforce work on site, of course, with rotations, across different departments. But what we've seen is that the impact is translated to a lower operational cost than we had at the beginning of pre-COVID.
All right, let me come to you now, Modara. You work with a government agency that sort of works with, that deals with employment and things like that. What's government's view of sort of the changing attitude to work these days? Traditionally, government is seen as one of the slowest to adapt to things like this, even though Lagos State government, Lagos State as a whole, is one of the progressive states in the country. How does government view sort of the changing attitude to work and the work from home, what young people especially are doing with their time as regards work against what work is supposed to be seen as or used to be seen as?
Yes, I work for the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, LSCTF, and I lead the digital media communications team. Interestingly, even before the onset of the pandemic, we have a very flexible approach to work, I would say, because of the nature of the work that we do. You have people who, we have situations where our staff and our colleagues do work from home. We have people who, work from multiple locations, just to ensure that, the agency really meets its mandates. But to speak to government's approach to it generally, I mean, we work with a lot of entrepreneurs. So we have programs where we even support these entrepreneurs to work from multiple locations, which may either be from the comfort of their homes or may be from workspaces. So really, it more for us is how many opportunities we're able to increase, irrespective of it's not really about where you work for us. It's about making sure that whatever platform that you find to do this work, it's sustainable, it yields something, and it's great for you. So this is something that the Lagos state government, especially our agency, really supports. So I mean, before the onset of the pandemic, we had a lot of training. We had trainings, we had programs and things like that, which were mostly on site. But as the pandemic came, everybody had to change. So we then figured out a way to make sure that a lot of these things were either delivered through webinars, were delivered online, just to make sure that there was never that break where people don't get the opportunities that we want them to have access to. So this is something that we're supportive of, because we've realized that with or without the pandemic, in order to increase opportunities and give people more things to support employment and entrepreneurship, the online space has to be something that we're going to be open to. It's not really does government like it or not like it? We don't have a choice. The more things we're able to do online, the more opportunities we can create. So even when we had physical setups or physical platforms for people to access opportunities, we still had to do a lot of things online, because physical, you accommodate 500, 1 million people, you take it online and maybe that number triples or doubles or something like that. So as an organization, looking at it from where I work, it's something that we've always been open to. And then when you then look at it from the perspective of the entrepreneurs we support and also the people who are unemployed that we want to open up opportunities to, that platform is also provided for them. So yes, it's something I would say that in summary, we're in great support of, because it just really increases the opportunities for the people that we serve.
It's very good to hear that, because a lot of people who live in Lagos have always wondered, do we have to go to work? The traffic is, for want of a better word, crazy for a lot of people. So, the fewer people on the roads having to go to an office, the better for everybody. So besides even supporting it, we've always wondered, shouldn't government encourage it? And then secondly, what's your thoughts on freelancing? I've always wondered, and I think I saw that quite a bit in the media and social media when we saw the recent unemployment numbers at 33% from the Bureau of Statistics. Are freelancers captured in these things? How do you know if a freelancer is an employed Nigerian? What are sort of the metrics you use to actually show that a freelancer is a worker or is an employed Nigerian?
That's an interesting question. To start out with, I would take it from the perspective of when you say really looking at freelancers, are they recognized? Yes, they are. Because I would take this directly to one of our programs, the Lagos Innovates programs, which supports entrepreneurs who run tech-enabled businesses. A lot of these people before they become fully established, they really are freelancers. And some of them, when they fully set up, you find out that they're freelancers as well. Because if you look at it, how do we really define a freelancer, right? You would define that person as someone who, in layman's terms, you say somebody who doesn't have a stereotype 9 to 5. So a lot of programmers will be.
Okay, while we wait for her to come back, I saw you nodding your head, Esochi, when I talked about the freelance question. So what do you want to say to that?
just telling her, that same line of tech-driven job descriptions or jobs. It's pretty, I would say, intuitive, or even organic for you to have, say, a developer would very easily will freelance. And this, ties back to how you define a freelancer. Is there someone who takes a job on the side, or is that someone who consults full time? I know for certain that we have freelancers, or we have developers who get paid as a business, even if they're just that one person. So call to mind some of the funny memes that you see online, where you have the picture of let's say Dara, three pictures of Dara. One picture, she's the project manager, she's the developer, she's the client service person, she's the CEO, and then when she's talking to the client, she's saying, Oh, don't worry. We'll get back to you. We're multidisciplinary agency, and it's just one person. It's just one Dara. So, so however you look at it, I think the government sees freelancers as one entity, whether it's an individual or not. But the model that they work on is actually enabled or driven by technology. So we can actually draw a spectrum. So the closer you are, or the more advanced you are in, being tech-driven, the easier for you it would be to freelance no matter the situation.
Okay, Dara, you were making a point there. Just finish your point, sorry, before the technical issues came on. Yeah.
So I think I'll just pick up from Sochi's points because it helps me remember some of the things I was saying. So really and he's right, really, because you will capture these people as some business entity of some sort. A lot of freelancers, well, it will be a bit of an assumption to say a lot of freelancers are registered, but some of them are registered as business entities. It's so important for these freelancers to, even irrespective of how freelance you are or what it is that you're doing, it's so important to have some registration in place, because if you're going to grow whatever it is that you're freelancing on, if you're going to, grow it into a bigger company or a bigger entity, you will need this registration to progress. But it's interesting to see that the entrepreneurs that that we work with or that we support rather are people who have taken the step to do some form of registration for themselves. And it's really interesting. Some of them are just graphic designers. Some of them are maybe copywriters. Some of them own really tiny shops, but you'll be surprised that the very basics of basic business registration has been done in some capacity. And yeah, so that really is what it has been really for the freelancers. But I see that effort with a lot of entrepreneurs. You'll be surprised to find out that even people who are first-time graduates but have decided to go into entrepreneurship, even before they figured out what they want to do, they quickly go and register one business name, And I think it's an interesting development because it helps them to see things from a larger perspective. So even if they end up being the cook, chef, CEO, accountant, project manager and everything, at least they are creating some platform that would help them, grow as they progress. So yes.
All right, I said just to round up, I was a question to both of you, but I'll start with you, Amodara, first. 9 to 5 versus freelancing, you have a lot of offices where they say once you get a job, you can't do anything on the side, almost as if it's going to be a distraction. But like Sochi also said, this is a time when it's almost impossible to do just one thing. I mean, besides the fact that you might have one or two other passions, people are looking for extra money on the side. Do you think that's a feasible way to look at things, to say once you have this job, you can't do anything on the side? And finally, I think a few countries have started looking at 4-day work weeks. Do you think we're ever going to get there in Nigeria?
I think, honestly, I do think that with some companies we'll get there with the 4-day work week, but I'm not absolutely sure that it's a cover for everybody, just because we live in a society where people believe that when they see you in a place, that's when you're actually getting work done. That's a widespread thing. I mean, so for that reason, I think that it might, and also, because we're also a very traditional people, I see you, that means you're there, you're hailing me in the morning, she was doing some great work. So there's a bit of that. So I think that might make it slow. But if you notice, I mean, a lot of these, I once again will refer to the tech-enabled businesses because they always seem to be at the forefront of most things. I think that for them, they will get there faster because a lot of them, with or without the pandemic, were working from home, were working in multiple locations and figured out how to connect all their stuff together with very little issues. Have put processes in place that reduce the need for constant, physical human interaction. So I know that they would get there faster. A lot of them are already there, by the way. So, but for the rest, it might be a little slower. And really, it's something that talks to system and processes. Now, to go back to what you asked about it being a 9-to-5er or a freelancer, that's an interesting question. I think if I were to be, absolutely honest, I think that in the environment we live in, a hybrid system is what works best, really. Being able to, doing both. It's really that hybrid system that works. So you run both a 9 to 5 and you're doing some freelancing on the other end. I think that the things that people just need to be cautious of is they have to be able to then be ethical about what they do. So for example, you can't expect to do the exact same version of what you're doing with your 9 to 5 on the side, if you know what I mean, which I understand is also a thin line, because then people will ask you, well, that's the skill I have, or it's the only skill I have, but then there has to be a way to draw the line. So for example, you can't be serving your organization's clients behind the scene. That's just ridiculous, at a cheaper price or something like that. So I think that being able to manage your time wisely will be very helpful. Being ethical will be very helpful, but the hybrid system is probably what works best. I can't tell you my preference, unfortunately, but I think that realistically, but I think realistically, it really is that hybrid system that works best.
All right, Sochi?
Let me start by saying, no, I don't think that would work for an employer to tie an employee down in a no PP agreement or contract. My reason is this: it's actually more beneficial for the employer, and I'm beginning to see a lot of a trend of employers who take the non-conventional route in employing or recruiting talents. So, I saw one by a fast-moving consumer goods player where they said, what, don't send us a resume, send us a video of you and just tell us, tell us what makes you different. Now, such a tactic actually panders to a need to recruit a talent who is not just focused on one thing, but actually has a flair for thinking outside the box, not being straitjacket. And it's doing that actually brings more perspectives, or more perspective to solving problems on the job. And I would prefer, so if for some of my direct reports, I don't mind if you have it's something on the side. What I do appreciate is you bringing fresh angles, bring that insight from whatever challenges you face on the in whatever engagements you have on the side. Bring it in, bring it on board, bring it to the table. Let's talk about it. You begin to appreciate the depth to which you apply these solutions gets richer, and you're able to see end to end, and see a big picture more clearly that way. So I think there's a lot for the employer to benefit by having employees who have passions, who explore other engagements, as long as they're bringing the full weight of that, the full value of that engagement to the table, or bringing it to their work. That's fine. However, we have to tread carefully, because just as Dara has also mentioned, there are ethical lines that must not be crossed. So, pitching or poaching clients, exposing company secrets, those are things to watch out for. They are pitfalls. Unfortunately, I'm not as optimistic as Dara that in the Nigerian space, I'm sorry, Dara, but I'm not as positive in the Nigerian that in the Nigerian space, employers are ready for the 4-day work week. Reason being that just imagine how far it's taking us to get here, where people feel forced to work from home, where employers feel forced to work from home, as opposed to actually focusing on work even in a period longer than 4-day work from home situations, whatever situation. However, and that's also that having said that, we have to also be reminded that even in the Western Western space, or even in US or Europe, they are still battling with certain issues of this speaks to perspective from an employee, from an employee's view, where they have to still work around the ways in which they can still remain visible while they work from home. You will agree that working on site is an easier way. You can just easily walk into your boss's office, get feedback, say good morning, bring him a cup of tea, just so that you say, hey, I'm here. But you can't do that in the virtual world or in the virtual platform. Having said that, you would realize that in Nigerian space, if they don't see you, you don't exist. If they don't see you, you're not working. So, if people have to work real hard or even harder to please a boss who never even believed in a work from home structure.
All right, thank you very much, Sochi. Thank you very much, Amadar. I'm sure a lot of people are very keeping their fingers crossed, hoping that we actually get there someday. But yeah, I don't know that we're there yet in Nigeria with a 4-day work week. It's going to take a while. All right, thanks a lot. We're going to take a break now and come back. Please don't go away. All right, welcome back. We're going to be talking about content creation now and going viral. It's some terms that have become extremely popular, especially in the last 2 years. The lockdown came with a lot of economic problems for people, especially with unemployment. But social media sort of opened up a platform for other people to create and entertain us while we were at home, but new careers were born.
Every night, Lọ́nà tó dé tó fẹ́ lọ jayé. Bàbí mi gbé Aston Martin, èmi gbé Bugatti. Lálẹ́ Friday, I fẹ́ lọ jayé. Dem go talk say money no dey Lagos. They talk say money no dey Lagos. Dem dey talk say money no dey Lagos. I fẹ́ lọ jayé. Dem dey talk say money no dey Lagos. Talk say money no dey Lagos. Dem dey talk say money no dey Lagos. What's that now?
Jenny Frank, how are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Thanks for joining us. I remember, I think one of the very first times I noticed your videos was when the slow motion challenge or something at the time was going viral, and you had so many great ones. What made you jump on that? And secondly, I mean, like a lot of people had said that the lockdown was a terrible time for them. People were depressed, going through things. How were you able to sort of shift your psyche and make sort of a career out of this at a time when people were down?
Okay, personally for me, I have always liked being in front of the camera. I see it as a way to ease stress, and I love listening to music a lot. So TikTok has always been a way to ease stress, even when I was in school. So during the lockdown, I mean, I was bored at home, aside from cooking for the family, cleaning, praying, gisting. I had nothing else to do. So I felt like this is actually the time to do something extremely creative, something people would actually love, because I mean, everybody was actually bored. Everybody was sitting at home doing nothing. So I felt like this is actually a way to entertain people. And then I picked up my phone. Then I was able to record a lot with the help of my mom, actually, because she was very supportive. She was actually giving me like small things to do, giving me tips on things I should do and things I should not do. And then this about the slow-mo challenge, I was not really comfortable with the whole slow-mo challenge because I was more into transitions, comedy skits and all. But I just joined in because it was something that was trending then, and I mean, it was going to help boost up my page. And then I just took one video and it got me out there.
Great. So what was the first video that went viral, and when did you think, oh, maybe this might be something I should do more often?
My first video went viral on when I was going for my friend's wedding. I used Yemi Alade's song featuring Fowls, Single and Searching.
Yes. Excuse me, young lady, let me tell you something.
Why shouting?
Hello, I'm talking to you.
What?
Okay, no problem. You know, just be going, it's okay.
Wait now.
Hey. Single, I've been searching. I want to mingle. Me no team marry.
Single, Ati searching. You want to mingle. Kole marry.
That was a song that got me out there, and I didn't even shoot that video with the hope that it was going to get out there. I just shot the video and I just posted it. And during the wedding, I was just seeing a lot of notifications popping up. I was like, what?
So at what point did you decide to say, you know what, maybe I'm actually a content creator and I should maybe focus more on this as against it just being a hobby?
I've actually always wanted to be a content creator. I was just not getting the recognition I deserve because I was before the lockdown, I was always shooting, I was always posting, but it was hard. It was hard on social media for people to recognize me. And considering the fact that I actually put in a lot of effort to shoot my videos and post, I was not getting that recognition. I knew a time was going to come for me. I knew that time was coming, but I was not expecting it that soon.
Yeah. Please explain to us how hard it is to make some of these TikTok videos and reels, because sometimes we just watch a video, it's 30 seconds, and we don't realize how difficult it is with the shooting and the editing. What's the process for you and how hard is it?
Creating slow-mo videos is actually not hard because it's basically you standing and walking on a spot. I think the hard part of TikTok is the transitions because it requires you changing to different outfits, changing to different makeups, hairs and stuff like that. So that is the stressful one. But the whole acting and slow motion video, it's not hard at all. It's just like the one-time thing.
Oh, great. So how does your family see this now? Because there's a big generational gap for a lot of people trying to understand, is this even a career? What are you even doing? You're just enjoying yourself on social media. Do they understand that this is what you are doing now, or do they get it?
Honestly, my dad was actually not in support of this. He's a proper businessman. So he felt like, why would you just wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is to pick up your tripod to go and shoot a video and stuff like that. He didn't see it as anything serious. But my mom, she's like, I'm like the mini her. She actually likes everything that involves entertainment, even though she didn't see it as a career. She just felt like, okay, I'm just having fun. But I'm grateful because this got me out there and a lot of money started coming in for me. So I think my dad actually had to change his mind to an extent, even though he still does not see this as a career.
You mentioned money now. Let's talk about money. When did you start making money from it, whether it's from TikTok or from brands approaching you to work with them? And what was that first check? What did it feel like?
Okay, firstly, I would like to correct the fact that TikTok does not pay African creators. So how we make money from TikTok is probably if a brand wants you to advertise on your TikTok page, or you go live on TikTok and your fans gift you diamonds, that can be withdrawn as dollars. Okay, now I got my first pay during the lockdown, funny enough. I got my first pay during the lockdown because a lot of artists, they were dropping their songs then. So TikTok was like a platform to promote everybody's songs. So a lot of artists, they were reaching out to me. So my first pay, I was happy, I was excited, and I had to share money amongst everybody in my family. I just don't know why I did that, but I was happy and everybody was happy with me.
All right, Jennifer, I just wanted to ask on a final note, because there's a lot of people who don't think this is a proper job. Do you think this is actually a proper career path that's going to be around for a while, or do you think it's just a fad for now?
Personally, for me, I think that TikTok is here to stay because it has actually helped a lot of youths from different parts of the world. And I mean, people make money out of it. Brands, they want to reach out to brand influencers or content creators to push out their brand for them. So I feel like this is here to stay.
Okay, great stuff. Oh, before you go, I just wanted to know, because you jump on a lot of challenges. Are you going to do the crate challenge?
No, that is one challenge I'm actually so scared of. It's so risky. I can't. And I would.
Dangerous, nigga bum silly gas. Dangerous, dangerous.
Please don't. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to come back and continue the conversation on content creation with another content creator, Ifeoma.
Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show and prove.
Wait for it.
No disconnect. I can't cruise forget. If you don't, you collect.
still having our conversation about content creation, and I'm joined now by Ifoma, who's a dancer, content creator, so many things. How are you doing, Ifoma?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Dance in Nigeria, for a lot of people, for a long time has been seen as, okay, you're dancing, but what else do you do? Because people don't take it as seriously. But you have sort of taken it seriously and are making a living out of it. What have you done differently that's made it work for you?
Okay, the thing is, when it first started for me, dance was like a hobby. It was just something I loved to do. And as time went by, it was now becoming serious, like serious business. And I had to take it seriously because, like you said, it started becoming a means of livelihood for me. And I feel like I think consistency has brought me to where I am today. I've been dancing for years and I've kept going. And basically, it started off as being a video vixen, going for competitions back then, and then dancing with my crew. You know, when we came together, we now said, okay, let's make this thing serious and make it a thing in Nigeria, because people don't take dance as seriously. Like they just feel like, oh, you can dance. Yeah, okay, no problem. That's fine. But we took it seriously. We're doing videos, you know, then even when social media now became a thing in Nigeria, we now started like doing a lot of videos and creating content. You know, some of our videos went viral. And then over time, we now realized, okay, if we do this dance thing like the way we are going with it, you know, people started reaching out to us, like artists and all. They would reach out and be like, okay, I want you guys to dance our song, and then we'll dance to it. And then after sometimes started making money off it, and then brands reach out. You know, it was now becoming so like serious. I feel like we're just have to stand out, do the not regular thing that everyone is doing, and that's it. Yeah.
So at what point did you make the switch to say, okay, maybe I should start creating content? Was it because you realized that there was money to be made there, or did you feel like you were talented enough?
Like during lockdown last year, so like TikTok was like the thing. And you know, on TikTok, it's easy. Well, I say it's easier to create content on TikTok because you have the sound there. You have so many sounds that you can just hop on. You don't need to start searching, and you know, you just have the sound there. You just jump on it and create an idea around it. Sometimes it comes with an idea. It's just left for you to hop on it and do your own thing on it. So I feel like during the lockdown, it made me like extra creative. I used to be creative, but then it was just, you know, basically dance and all. But then it made me start doing other things like creating, you know, dance, clothing inspiration. So many things, food, anything like associated to creativity. Like I was just doing a lot of things, and that was thanks to TikTok, I must say, because it brought out that extra creative aspect of me. Yeah.
So I mean, creating content on social media, whether it's TikTok, on Reels, Instagram, wherever, relies a lot on people's response, the likes, the comments, the shares. Do you always worry when you make a video to say, will this go viral? And how do you know the one that you think will actually be a hit? Do you know when you make one?
Okay, the truth is you never know which content might go viral. But the truth is, for me, I feel like whenever I put in work to make a video, there are some videos that actually stress me, that takes me like 6 to 7 hours. I always hope and believe that, okay, for all this work I've done, man, please, at least let me be encouraged to do more. Like, let me see that people are liking it, or people are commenting, people are viewing it and all that. Like, I just always hope for it. It's not like I know that, okay, this one will go viral, this one, because sometimes you might put in work and it might not even go viral. And you just be like, okay, but it never makes me go down. It just makes me want to do more. And, you know, feel like, okay, if this doesn't go viral, then the next one I might do might go viral. Do you understand? So sometimes I'm concerned. I'm like, okay, I hope will this go viral? Okay, it might go viral. Okay, it should go viral. And then it goes viral. I'm always super happy and excited. Like, okay, thank God my work wasn't in vain. The hours of sleepless nights, like making this video, because I always shoot most of my videos at night. I always shoot most of my videos between the hours of 12 to 7 a.m. in the morning. And there was this particular video I shot that took 7 hours. I was like, God, and then an hour to edit. And I was like, wow, like it has to go viral. And then when I posted it, everybody was like, wow. And like, okay, it's not bad. Okay. People loved it.
Well done.
So, what are your hobbies?
Food.
Food. But food is not a hobby.
Food is my own hobby.
So how many times do you eat in a day?
Like 13 times.
Well, thank you very much for everything. I mean, I know it's a lot of hard work. I've tried a few TikTok videos and I know how hard it is to get them done. So well done on everything you do. And we definitely enjoy them. And hopefully you're going to be around doing more great stuff for us. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show and prove.
Welcome back. We're going to be switching the conversation now, talking about insecurity and how to tackle it in Nigeria. A lot has happened in the past week. As much as insecurity has been a problem, we've talked about so many of these issues, whether it's from the northeast to the middle belt, to the southeast, south, whichever region it is in the country. But we did hear about an attack on the Nigerian Defense Academy. And that got a lot of people worried. We're going to be talking about insecurity today and how we can possibly tackle it. I'm joined now by Dennis Amakre, who's a security analyst, and Tanwa Ashiru from the Defense Intelligence and Security side of things in Nigeria. Thanks a lot for joining us, both of you. Let me start with you, Dennis. You did hear about the NDA incident, and that's very confusing for a lot of us. How did that even happen? How worried should people be, and what do you think the military, the security agencies in Nigeria are thinking right now?
Thank you for having me. You see, that attack itself, it's very, very unexpected, and then, of course, very embarrassing, because that's a citadel of military education in Nigeria, or military training, and for it to be so open. And then, of course, I feel strongly that it was carelessness in the sense that other things have been happening around that installation. And then, of course, they could have taken precautionary measures, but that was not the case. And access control, of course, which is the basic issue there, was very, very poor. So very embarrassing, of course.
And something you just said, which a lot of people have also sort of echoed, is the fact that, you know, what happened with the NDA is sort of a reflection of the attitude of security operatives to things generally in the last probably decade or more even, which is why insecurity has continued to build. Like you said, we can see these things happening. There's sort of no precaution to prevent, you know, the brazenness of these attacks as they go on. Do you think that's true? Do you think they were just very lax, or was this unavoidable?
I think they were relaxed in the sense that when there is access control in a very, very serious or sensitive facility, you know, you don't play with it. If you remember very well, most of our police stations, DSS, even the military, you find out blockades that are placed in front of every all their offices. Now, with that, it shows that you cannot easily drive in, and that was when we were worried about bombers, you know, IEDs. But now, even besides that, entering into a facility like that should have people identified, stopped, check their vehicles before they go in. But I can tell you, it's really so bad that a friend of mine told me he went to one of these cantonments in Lagos, and they just waved him on. They said, ask him, do you know where you're going? Do you know the house? He said, yes. And they said, go in. That is not the protocol for a facility like that, especially a military one.
All right, let me come to you now, Tanwa. There was a lot of talk in the last year plus, about, why not change the heads of security agencies in Nigeria. The president has finally done that, and he particularly said at the time that he hopes that this would, sort of make things different. Have you noticed a difference in the approach to tackling insecurity since the service chiefs have been changed? What do you think they should be doing differently, if not?
Thank you, Ibuka. So there are a couple of factors here. First of all, is understanding that the security challenges we have in Nigeria are not caused simply by one element or one factor. And so what that means is that just changing the head alone is not going to solve the issue. It's a multifaceted problem. The solutions also have to be equally multifaceted. Now, the other aspect too, in terms of has there been a change? So with regards to the fight in the Northeast with Boko Haram and ISWAP, there has been some changes. We have been seeing some record of fighting that's going on, some terrorist groups, terrorists and insurgents that have been surrendering. We know that there's been a lot of military activity and bombardment operations taking place over there. So yes, we've seen a bit of a change there, but that is with regards to BH. So at the end of the day, we really have to ask ourselves, what do we consider success? Is success, are we going to measure that as a reduction in attacks that are taking place? Are we going to measure success as some kind of difference in sort of the insurgent groups that are operating or the terrorist groups that are operating? Are they more, are they less? So these are all the other factors that are involved. That being said, just changing the security heads is not going to be the solution to resolving security and the security challenges that we have.
What about, a few, the heads of, sort of these factions or groups? On the one hand, a lot of people see that, okay, that might be governments, putting their foot down. On the other side, people are wondering, why is this happening just in one segment of the country? What do you think of those situations? Do you think it's a good start to, sort of resolving a lot of these issues, or you agree with sort of it's not enough?
Yeah, so I think what we have here is a case where there are 5 major insecurity issues that we're dealing with in Nigeria. So we have the terrorism issue that we're dealing with. We have the kidnapping and banditry that we're dealing with. We have maritime issues, okay? We have the issues with agitation, so political agitation, secessionist agitations. Now, these are sort of separate issues, but what we tend to see is that the government tends to go really hard in say 1 or 2 areas and not necessarily 3, 4, and 5. And so that is where the problem lies. I think that, people want to see that same vigor, that same push in all, or with them tackling all the different issues across board. Now, specifically, when we look at this issue with the attack on the NDA facility, for example, I don't think there's anybody that can say they didn't see it coming. The interesting thing is that these guys were actually attacking schools that were in the area, attacking communities in the area. So let's assume that schools are now out, okay? They closed down a lot of schools, and so now there's no more victims there for them to go and take. And then maybe even the communities, people have been fleeing their communities, people have been arming themselves in some cases. So perhaps even the communities were no longer really viable for them to attack. And as a third measure, the NDA Academy has always been there. And all of a sudden they're saying, you know what? We've hung around the area. We've scoped the security level of the area. We know what the fencing looks like. We know where their weak spots are, the vulnerable spots, which means, and their blind spots, which means there's no CCTV cameras, there are no guards, there are hardly anybody there, and the fencing is a little weak. So when they're able to find all these different areas, it was easy for them to just say, you know what, this is probably a viable sort of target that we can go for, and they went for that. So I really think that going forward, the government, there's a lot that needs to be done across all levels. Just the sort of one-sided narrative or the divisions that we have nowadays is just, it's so, the narrative is so divisive that one of the key things I think that the government needs to do is to try to start figuring out how to unify Nigerians first. There's a lot of division, there's a lot of strife that's going on around. And so it's almost like there's nothing the government will do that will make it seem like they're making any progress. We need to tackle that as well. That division needs to be bridged, and then security as well also needs to be looked at.
That's a very good way to wrap it up. Thank you so much. Hopefully the government is listening. A lot of Nigerians are concerned. And we do hope that we might start to see some light. I don't know how long the tunnel is, but hopefully we'll get out of it very soon. Thank you very much, Tanwa, for joining us. Like I always say, you can follow the conversation on social media. Please use the hashtag #RubbinMinds. I'll see you next Sunday.
Let's go. So let's dance now. It is my turn. Just want you.